What's going on, everyone? So, the Philadelphia 76ers thus far are undefeated, and that is despite, no Paul George, no Joel Embiid. The idea of Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, I got it, right? If all three are healthy, play to the level that we know all three are capable of playing, Philadelphia could absolutely win an NBA championship. Sometimes things just don't work out. Right? Paul George cannot stay healthy. Joel Embiid looks like a shell of himself, right? I mean, he's been dealing with injuries for years now, but beyond just the injury element, he's somebody that he doesn't look right out there. I think the superstar days are behind him. Sure, he'll have a game where he drops 30 or 40 or whatever, right? Because he is still very talented, but it's like he's so stiff and he just clearly is not the same player. He doesn't even jump anymore. He's just kind of contesting and putting his hand out. He looks like he's just out there so he doesn't get fined, right? And I just think for a Sixers team that is young and winning despite Joel Embiid, despite Paul George, without them playing at a high level, is this a team that can go win an NBA championship? Probably not, right? But you have the foundation in core. Maxey and Edgecombe are clearly your foundation. Those are your guys that you were riding off into the sunset. To me, personally, I would look to get off of everyone else as soon as possible. Personally. If you can and look, it's hard when you're the Sixers, you're 3-0, you're playing Washington, you very well could be 4-0, you're in the Eastern Conference, you're like, man, if we, finish a top 3 to 5 seed in a wide open Eastern Conference where there's really only 2 or 3 teams we really have to worry about, maybe, I understand the kind of thought process of hey, let's just see, maybe Joel Embiid comes back, maybe, Paul George can get back to being Paul George, and now you got Maxey and Edgecombe and George and Embiid, and now all these things start piecing together and you could be the best team in all of basketball. Yes, there is an absolute pot. If you get the best if you get MVP Joel Embiid back with Maxey and Edgecombe, and then Paul George can get back to being Paul George, I mean, you could be the best team in basketball. But the realistic likelihood of that happening and also not hindering Tyrese Maxey and Edgecombe, I just think it's unrealistic, right? Because Paul George is going to come back. He's used to a certain usage, used to a certain play, right? Is he really going to just be the fourth option, right? Is he just going to buy into being a 3-and-D spot up, catch and shoot guy? Probably not. Is Joel Embiid is he going to come in and be like, hey, I'll be the third, fourth guy behind you guys. I'll just average 20 a night. When you need me to be superstar Joel Embiid, I'll be superstar Joel Embiid. No, probably not. So now you're setting your guys that are the ones that are leading you to these wins back. You're not going to get a crazy return for Joel Embiid, but there's always a team out there that'll do it just for the name on the back of their jersey. There's always somebody out there that will think that they could do better. Oh, it's Philadelphia's medical staff, or Embiid is just not in it anymore because he's been wanted. There's always somebody that'll talk themselves into why they should go trade for Joel Embiid, right? And to me, I just think you have your clear foundation pieces. If you at any point, if Joel Embiid goes on a 10-game stretch where he looks like Joel Embiid, I am immediately picking up the phone going hey, so look, we just decided to go the young route. Whatever excuse you have to come up with, however you need to approach this in order to get Joel Embiid off your team and on a new team and get as many assets and players and whatnot as possible, right? You have what looks to be your two guys that you put the right pieces around them, you might have something in Philly, right? And I just think there is, again, a hobbled Joel Embiid is still going to be good, right? Once he kind of gets his legs under him, sure. But I just think the process has stopped loading, right? I think it's time to go into a new door. You're going to have to do it eventually, right? Because I don't think Joel Embiid is going to get back magically to being Joel Embiid. And even if he does, I don't trust that he's going to stay healthy, right? And then Paul George, same thing, right? I just don't trust Paul George to come back and be Paul George and stay healthy. Right? So you're talking about two guys that are just going to set things back, in my opinion. Again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I think even if it starts, like even if Paul George comes back, it starts to look like Paul George. If I'm picking up the phone and going like, hey, is anyone interested in Paul George? Look at how great he's playing. Wow. Like, man, wouldn't you love to have him on your team? I'm trying to get off of him immediately. Joel Embiid, same thing. If you're praying, if you're Philadelphia, that those two wake up and are great. And the problem is going to be, and for many fans, the issue would be, is like, say they come back and whatever, through 40 games, you're like the one seed in your whatever, 30 and or 25 and 15 or something like that, right? Like it's just like, man, they're killing it, right? Like they're looking great, they're out there, whatever, right? Guys are really starting to come into their own, they're really starting to work stuff out, they're really starting to figure stuff out. I just don't think the right approach is like, let's see what happens. I think the right approach is sell to the highest bidder. And because this could be fool's gold, and you have a history of it being fool's gold. I understand the Eastern Conference is wide open. The Eastern Conference is usually wide open, right? Like you put the right team together. You have your two foundation pieces who are both like Edgecombe's going to be cheap for a while. Right? Maxey is, he's pricey, but he's worth it. And he's going to be that for a while. Like you have the opportunity where you can you may be able to retool this sooner rather than later. And now actually be the team that you're hoping that you can be and actually be able to perform to the level that you want to perform and be the team that now has the success and breeds all those things. Like that potential's there. But my concern for this team is that I just don't think Joel Embiid is going to magically become MVP of Joel Embiid. Now, you could argue even if he doesn't, but he gets back to a version and kind of settles in and is willing to kind of be the third guy and on many nights the second or first guy, then sure. But again, it's just the best ability is availability. Right? It's just like how long, like what's the definition of insanity, right? Like doing the same thing over and over, expected a different result. And I just think at this point, you're at the level of insanity. At this point, it's like you see the success you can have with these guys. It's like, man, you put the right team and the right pieces and the right players around your young guys and let them just carry this thing and get spend this year getting as much experience, lead you as far as possible. And then now you're starting to put those other pieces in. Go get that, a legit two-way three. Like, could you maybe do it in the process, right? Like of trading the process, right? No pun intended. It just kind of worked out that way. But can you turn, an Embiid into a young two-way wing and, whatever else, like even if, you just like a first, right? Okay, fine. Can you ship them to Philadelphia or not Philadelphia? Ship them to New Orleans and go. Can you get a Herb Jones and and a couple picks, right? Zion and Joel Embiid. You'll make insane money, right? And if you work it out, good. Congrats, New Orleans. You might be a contender, right? Like, but we'll worry about you when we see you in the final. And now you got that starting level 3-and-D wing. You got some picks, but you got off of Joel Embiid in his contract and just the uncertainties with him. Paul George, can you turn him into, a starting 4 or something like that is just, half decent or whatever, right? Just to get off of his contract, get off of his money. That's kind of the approach that I would look to if I was them. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think Joel Embiid's washed? Do you think Philly needs to kind of lean more into the young guys? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.